Well, today we're at the Turchin Reservation. It's at Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park. And once again, this is a National Park Service location, but there is absolutely no parking here. There are only about 3 locations that actually have parking. So we're doing what we can, but we're continuing on our look at the markers on Crest Road. And so continue with us and we'll see what markers we can find here. Here's the 32nd Indiana Infantry, Colonel Frank Erdelmeyer, November 25th, 1863, 9 killed, 35 wounded. This marker is the 15th Ohio Infantry, Willich Brigade, Woods Division, 4th Corps, Lieutenant Colonel Frank SQ, November 25th, 1863. November 23rd, this regiment with its brigade took active part in the capture of the Orchard Knob, being in the front line of the attack. It also held the front line in the assault on Missionary Ridge and reached the crest about this point and at once pursued the enemy down the eastern slope, capturing a number of prisoners and several guns. Casualties killed 1, officer 3, men wounded 2 officers, 18 men, for a total of 24. This marker is for the Wisconsin 15th Infantry, 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 4th Corps, November 25th, 1863, and this is at 5 p.m. This is Cleburne's Division, Breckinridge's Corps, Major General Patrick R. Cleburne. The Artillery Battalion, commanded by Major T.R. Hotchkiss, was composed of the Arkansas Battery, Calvert's, Lieutenant Thomas J. Key, Texas Battery, Captain James P. Douglas, Alabama Battery, Simples, Lieutenant Richard W. Goldwaith, and Sweat's Mississippi Battery, Lieutenant H. Shannon. This division reached the eastern base of Missionary Ridge from Chickamauga Station the evening of November 23rd. It had reached the latter station on its way to report to General Longstreet at Knoxville. At dawn of the 24th, it began to throw up earthworks along the crest of the ridge from General Bragg's headquarters to the Shallow Ford Road. At 2 p.m., it was dispatched in haste to Tunnel Hill to confront General Sherman's forces. At that hour, Walker's division was on the ridge between Cleburne's right and Tunnel Hill. The head of the division reached Tunnel Hill about 2:30 p.m. Willich's Brigade, Wood Division, Granger's Corps, Brigadier General August Willich. This brigade, the center of Wood's Division, with Hazen's Brigade on its right and General Samuel Beatty's on its left, moved to the assault from Orchard Knob in 2 lines, with the 15th Wisconsin in reserve. Upon carrying the earthworks at the foot of the ridge, the command assaulted without further orders and gained the crest, General Willich having no instructions to halt at the base. Artillery was captured on the summit by both wings of the brigade. Hazen's troops on the right assisted in taking 2 guns. Part of the brigade pursued to the eastern base of the ridge, capturing several guns on the slope, while part of it advanced north along the ridge. The 49th Ohio Infantry, Willich's Brigade, Woods Division, 4th Corps, Major Samuel F. Gray. November 23rd, this regiment with its brigade took active part in the capture of Orchard Knob, being on the front line of the attack. It also held the front line in the assault on Missionary Ridge and reached the crest about this point and at once pursued the enemy down the eastern slope, capturing a number of prisoners and several guns. Casualties killed 3 officers and 5 men, wounded 1 officer and 47 men, for a total of 56. There's another Illinois marker for the 89th Infantry, 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 4th Corps, November 25th, 1863, at 5 p.m. Here's another very large monument. You can see there's a soldier on the top, and then down toward here it says the 8th Kansas Volunteer Infantry, Colonel John A. Martin commanding, advancing from Orchard Knob at 3 p.m. and with the brigade carried the works at the foot of the ridge. and continued the assault up its face. The regiment broke through the opposing line on the crest at this point, and a portion of it pursued the enemy 200 yards beyond, and there ended in a lively but short fight, while the rest assisted in driving the enemy from the left. The regiment bivouacked on the ridge near this point. Here's the 19th Ohio Infantry, S. Beatty's Brigade, Colonel Charles Manderson, November 25th, 1863, 1 killed, 12 wounded. Here's the Illinois 35th Infantry, 1st Brigade, 3rd Division, 4th Corps, November 25th, 1863, at 5 p.m. Here's Wood's Division, Granger's Corps, Brigadier General Thomas J. Wood. This division carried Orchard Knob November 23rd and held it until the afternoon of the 25th. It then advanced with Sheridan's division on its right and Baird's on its left in the general assault of the Army of the Cumberland against Missionary Ridge. Hazen's brigade held the right, Willich's the center, and Samuel Beatty's the left. The earthworks at the foot of the ridge were carried in the first advance, and the men at once began ascent of the slope below this point without awaiting further orders, and successfully carried the crest after severe fighting. This one is Manigault's Brigade, Hindman's Division, Hardee's Corps, Brigadier General Arthur M. Manigault. November 23rd, a portion of Manigault's Brigade held Orchard Knob on the low rocky ridge to the south of it. Upon the advance of the enemy in force, the 28th Alabama, misunderstanding its orders to be to hold its position at all hazards, remained in rifle pits fighting, and 146 officers and men of the colors were captured. During the 24th November, the front rank of the brigade occupied the works at the foot of the ridge, and on the afternoon of the 25th fell back before the Union advance and joined the rear rank on the crest of the ridge. Deas's brigade was on its right and Anderson's, Tucker's, on its left. In the general assault, it was attacked by the left of Wood's division, its position being carried. It retreated with its division to Chickamauga, crossing by Shallow Ford Road. This one is the 13th Ohio Infantry, S. Beatty's Brigade, Wood's Division, 4th Corps, Colonel Dwight Jarvis, Jr. The regiment participated November 23rd in the advance on Orchard Knob. It moved with the brigade to the storming of Missionary Ridge, pushing forward during the assault from the rear line to the front in the face of severe fire, and reaching the crest about this point among the first. It moved to the left on the summit and assisted in capturing 4 guns. There was one killed was 2 men, wounded 1 officer and 17 men, and missing 1 man for a total of 21. This is Dent's Alabama Battery, Major Alfred R. Courtney's Artillery Battalion, and Hindman's Anderson's Division. The battery came into position with 1 section posted on the summit of the elevation south of the Shallow Ford Road, 1 section just north of the same, and 1 section in rear and north of this ground in the line of Hindman's division. The guns were fired at first appearance of the Union advance, compelling it to avoid the open spaces and avail itself of the cover afforded by the ravines and slight depressions of the ridge till the Confederate line had been carried north of Bird's Mill Road. The 2 guns nearest that point were captured and turned upon it, raking north and south the defense of infantry, and in conjunction with a front attack forcing it to abandon its position. Casualties: 7 men killed, 1 officer and 20 men wounded and captured, 5 Napoleon guns, 2 caissons, and 35 horses. This marker is for Samuel Beatty's Brigade, Wood's Division, Granger Corps, Brigadier General Samuel Beatty. In the general assault on Missionary Ridge, this brigade advanced on the left of Willich's brigade with a front of 2 regiments, the 79th and 86th Indiana, the rest of the brigade being in echelon to the left. The 9th Kentucky acted as skirmishers, and the advance regiments, after carrying the rifle pits at the base of the ridge, were not halted but pushed on at once toward the summit. The 13th and 59th Ohio were sent to their assistance on the slope, and the 4 regiments gained the summit, where they were almost immediately joined by the 19th Ohio and 17th Kentucky. Upon reaching the summit, a portion of the brigade turned north and joined by the right of Turchin's brigade on the first knoll beyond this position, assisted in the capture of 4 guns. There were 14 killed, 160 wounded, and 1 missing. This is Hindman's division, Hardee's Corps, Brigadier General Patton Anderson. The artillery battalion of this division was commanded by Major Alfred R. Courtney and was composed of the Alabama batteries of Captain S.H. Dent, Captain James Garrity, and Waters. Lieutenant William P. Hamilton commanding, and Scott's Tennessee Battery, Lieutenant John Dosher. On November 23rd, this division held the right of the Confederate line at the base of the Missionary Ridge, a portion of Manigault's brigade holding Orchard Knob. When the line was withdrawn to the crest of Missionary Ridge, the division took position next on the right of Breckinridge's division, but not connected with it. The afternoon of November 25th, the position was carried by the assault of troops from the Army of the Cumberland, and the division retreated to the Chickamauga and crossed it. The 59th Ohio Infantry, S. Beatty's brigade, Woods Division, 4th Corps, Major Robert J. Vanissul. The 59th operated with the brigade November 23rd in the advance on Orchard Knob. During the assault on Missionary Ridge, it charged forward from the rear line to the front under heavy fire and reached the crest with the advance about this point. It then moved to the left on Crest and assisted in the capture of 4 guns. Casualties: wounded 2 officers, 25 men, and 27 total. This one is Baird's division, right of assault, November 25th, 1863. This is the 17th Ohio Infantry, Turchin's brigade, Baird's division, 14th Corps, Major Benjamin F. Butterfield, Captain Benjamin H. Showers. The morning of November 25th, the 17th, with its brigade and division, marched to support General Sherman at Tunnel Hill, returning it formed with the brigade on the left of Wood's division. In the general assault on Missionary Ridge, it reached the summit near this point. Major Butterfield was severely wounded at the foot of the ridge. The regiment advanced beyond the crest, wheeled to the left, and after brisk fighting, captured 2 guns. The next day, the regiment with its brigade joined in the pursuit to Ringgold. Casualties: killed were 2 men, wounded were 2 officers and 12 men, for a total of 16. This one is Deas's brigade, Hindman's division, Hardee's Corps, Brigadier General Zach C. Deas. Previous to the occupation of the crest of Missionary Ridge by Bragg's army on the night of November 24th, Hindman's division held the right of the entrenchments of that army at the foot of the ridge facing Chattanooga. The line was thrown sufficiently forward from the base to give room for the camps. Deas's brigade had Vaughn's on the right and Manigault's on the left. Waters' Alabama Battery, Lieutenant William P. Hamilton commanding, was on the line of the brigade. In the general assault of the Union forces upon the ridge, the brigade was attacked by the left of Wood's division and the right of Baird's. Being forced from the crest, the brigade retreated with its division to the Chickamauga, crossing it during the night by the shallow ford road. The 11th Ohio Infantry, Turchin's brigade, Lieutenant Colonel Ogden Street, November 25th, 1863. 8 were killed, 43 wounded. Well, here's the overlook at this location. You can see why the top of the hill would be a mighty place to have control of. And we've got many more markers to go, so let's continue looking at the markers in our future episodes, and we'll see you in the next episode.